All right, we are live. Oh my God, this is crazy, guys. Live for the very first time here on YouTube. It's me, it's Red5. Oh my God, wow. First of all, this is crazy. The turnout, I wasn't expecting this for having never done it before. Thank you guys so much. It's really heartwarming. This is really crazy and really surreal. I mean, I'm literally like shaking a bit. I'm excited. I've been wanting to do this for a little while. So it's nice that we're finally here. We're doing this. We're live. I'm going to take this bucket off in a few minutes and we're going to rank some Star Wars movies. I want to talk a little bit about Celebration too, because we had some really great reveals come through. But wow, look at 172 people in the chat it's saying on my end. This is crazy. This is way more than I expected. I appreciate you all so much. How am I doing? I'm doing great. I feel great right now. I am on cloud nine. I'm so hyped up to be doing this with you guys. This feels surreal. So yeah, how are you guys all doing today? Friday, it's Easter weekend coming up. If you're celebrating that, we've got Star Wars Celebration going on. You know, this is awesome. This is really something else. But yeah, like I said, today we're going to be ranking the Star Wars movies. First time kind of going into my opinion, because it's something I haven't really done too much. You know, most of my content is all lore based. So definitely a little bit different. Why do I sound different? One, it's probably the helmet. I'm a little muffled. Two, I'm not reading a script. You know, this is a little bit more low key. I want, you know, the true fans are here. But yeah. Happy to answer any questions. I'll try to get to them as they come through. Super chats, anything like that for sure. If you guys do end up sending any, of course, no pressure on that. But this is insane. I was not expecting this turnout. I will remove the helmet, I promise you. I just, you know, we got to build it up a little bit. I can't give it to you guys right away or you're all going to leave, you know? Yeah, I appreciate everybody here coming through. This is honestly insane. But I'm just going to get this tier list here pulled up and ready to do that because we're going to dive into that pretty quickly. Ranking the Star Wars movies from worst to best, classic tier list. We're just doing the movies today. We might do the shows on another one, but I thought this was kind of the best way to start here for, you know, a first stream. So I'll pull that up now. I accidentally pulled this up when we were starting. Oh, of course, the source isn't working now. Of course, we're going to have some tech issues. First time, guys. Boom, there we go. Beautiful. I see lots of questions here coming through. This is awesome, guys. I'll try to get to a couple of them real quick. Just fixing that. I'm going to pop the main cam back on. My favorite color is red. I know, shockingly. I see someone asking that in the chat there. I think I saw somebody ask what my favorite clone was, and for that, it's a real toss-up between Fives and Rex, but I'll probably give Rex the edge. If Revenge of the Sith isn't in the top movie, I swear, oh man. You guys are going to have to wait. You're going to hear my takes, all right? You know, usually it's the lore. I'm giving you guys the facts, but we're going to get into the opinion a little bit. But yeah, once we get to the rankings, I'm going to kind of give some things I like about all the movies, things I dislike. I'm not going to be too, you know, one way or another. I'm going to try and give you a balanced take and, you know, give you some reasonable ones because I know some other creators kind of go a little bit far, but anyways, do I love Commandos? Of course I love Clone Commandos. Trying to get to all these questions. Yeah, we'll mix the Q&A in throughout here. Yeah, it's all my real voice. Every video that's ever been uploaded onto this channel is my real voice, but of course I'm going to sound a little different, you know, when I'm reading a script versus just talking to a camera. You know, it's a bit of an adjustment for sure. This is very different. Favorite character in the whole franchise? That's so tough. You could ask me tomorrow and I would probably give you a different answer, but usually I tend to land on Obi-Wan. Sometimes it's Luke, sometimes it's Anakin, you know. I'm all over the place sometimes. Oh, why did I start making content? That's a very long answer that I'll have to give you guys sometime. I mean, I've been making YouTube videos since 2016. I know you guys won't believe that. I've run several channels before. I've actually been on camera before, so this isn't entirely new to me, but it's very ancient. I haven't done this in a while. I haven't streamed in a very long time, but Red 5 I've been doing since 2022. Oh, thanks, Luke, for the $2 dono there and Super Chat, one of our great mods on the Discord. There you go. And the GIF worked. I set up the, oh, it's this way. Gotta get used to the mirrored thing. That's pretty cool. How many helmets do you have? Happy Friday. Yeah, happy Friday, everyone. I hope you guys are all enjoying your Easter weekend if you're celebrating or if you're off today. But I've got, of course, the Mando helmet. You'll see over there. I've also got Iron Man, Red 5, of course. I would have worn it. I feel like I could have, but, you know, it's a face reveal. It kind of defeats the purpose if the whole inside is there. We've got Prototype Boba and then Kylo Ren chilling over there. I've got to get a clone one next for sure. I think I'm going to get that new 501st Black series that is coming out. So yeah, that's one I'm going to have to pick up. I was tempted by the Rex one for sure. Take it off. Let us see. We're almost there. I promise you. I can't wear this thing for too long too. I've got a big head and it's a little tight, to be honest. I actually had to remove like the strap that's on the inside. So now it's loose, but tight at the same time, a little uncomfortable. So, yeah, don't worry. It's not going to stay on for too much longer. We're going to get into this ranking here in a minute, but yeah, how's this week? How's your week going? Oh, it's been great, man. I've been cooking up a lot of videos for you guys. I don't know if you noticed, but we posted on Wednesday as well this week. Usually we just post on Sundays. Basically now through Andor, we're going to be doing double uploads, just all the hype around Star Wars. We want to cash in on that a little bit and bring you guys some extra content. You know, we got Celebration, we got May the 4th, we got Andor. Like the good times are coming back here for Star Wars. East, thanks for the $2 there. Thoughts on the movie coming in 2027? I want to get into that a little bit after, but yeah, if you guys didn't see, Star Wars Starfighter is the name. Ryan Gosling starring, and then Sean Levy is directing, who did Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's taking place after The Rise of Skywalker, and it's a standalone. It's not part of a trilogy or anything. I think I need to hear a little bit more before I can like truly give a take, because, you know, we don't know anything about the movie. We've got a title, we've got a star, and we have a time period. You know, I'm open to it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna talk about it, because, you know, I want Star Wars to do well. I want new Star Wars to be good, and I hope it will be. I'm optimistic. I think they've taken this long break from making movies for a reason, and they're not going to come out with a dud. So I'm optimistic, and I really hope it is good. But like I said, we barely know anything about that movie, so it's way too early, you know. But, well, yeah, what do you guys think about that one? I think, to be honest, I'm more excited about the Maul series, Maul Shadow Lord, the animated show. I am so stoked about that. We're definitely going to talk about it after. Who's your favorite Sith? Oh, again, I change it so much. It's probably Vader, though, in the end. I mean, just such a goated character. Most iconic Star Wars character, period. You know, no one tops Vader. But I love Dooku, Maul, you know, Palpatine, I think is somehow still underrated. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Gosling seems like a bit of an odd casting, but I'm open to it. It sounds like he's pretty thrilled about it, so, you know, I'm not going to count it out. I like Ryan Gosling. He's got a few solid movies. There's a Maul series. Let's go. I know. I'm so stoked. Yeah, Maul Shadowhunter. It's going to be an animated show. They just announced it overnight last night at a Celebration. Taking place, I think they said 1 year after the Clone Wars. So they're going to try and bridge that gap, I guess, between Clone Wars and Rebels. So that's pretty cool. I think that's been a big, you know, missing hole there. You know, what happened towards Solo? You know, how'd he end up from crime boss to, you know, hiding away on like Malachor come Star Wars Rebels? They posted some of the details as well about the trailer. Like it's a few of the websites have that. So I think we'll get into that after we get through the Star Wars movie ranking. But yeah, it's Friday for you. Yeah, it's Friday. It's Friday, man. Keep them coming, guys. Favorite bounty hunter? Probably Boba. I love the classics, man. When are you gonna do the face reveal? It's coming. I promise. I promise. I appreciate all you guys coming out. This is insane. I think we're over 200 viewers now. Very, very cool. I could put the Red 5 one on. What do you guys think? Should I put the Red 5 helmet on after the face reveal? I have like a ball cap here. I was just going to throw on the Red 5 cap, but I could do a nice little helmet switch. Maybe that's the move. Favorite ship? Oh, man. Probably Slave One. I love Slave One. Boba Fett / Jango Fett ship. So nice. Besides Star Wars, what's your favorite franchise? Oh man. Marvel probably? Yes. All right, there's a lot of yeses coming in. I might have to throw the Red 5 one on. I've been sitting on that one for a while. I knew it would be a great prop for videos. All right, I might have to take this thing off soon, guys. It's getting a little hard to see. The thing's fogging up a bit as I talk more. Oh, this is so cool. Is it time? I think it might be time. It might be time to take this thing off, do the old the old face reveal, but I need you guys to promise me something. All right? I've seen the dream memes. I've seen the dream videos. You guys can't be doing me like that, all right? I know I don't have the following he does and all that, but if you guys do that, this is going to be the last time we're doing this. Pardon me. All right, chat's going a little wild. Is it time? I think it might be time. We're hitting about 15 minutes here. We won't. All right, you got me. You guys got me. All right, we're cool. We're cool then. I think it's about time we get this thing off and we get into the movie ranking here. Do it. All right, guys. 3 years on this channel. Over 200,000 subscribers. 200 of you plus here. It's all come to this. Me taking off this Mandalorian helmet. Showing you my face. Like I said, man. A little shaky here. This is a little nerve-wracking, but we're gonna do it, man. Take it off Clone Wars, Star Wars style. What do you mean? What would Star Wars style be? Is it time? What do you guys think? All right, chat's going a little crazy. I think it's time, boys. All right. No time like the present. Oh, man. Much better. Oh, there you are. The helmet is off. I am Red 5. It's a little sweaty in that thing. I'm not even going to lie. I need some water. Oh, man, chat, you're hyping me up. You're getting me all confident here. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, this thing's great. Nice beard. Thank you. Just be glad I didn't shave. I mean, I look like a child even more than I already do. Appreciate all you guys so much. Thank you. I'm going to put this thing on the shelf here behind me. You can see it's got its missing spot here. Oh, there we go. The mask is off. And the hat's going on. I'm a big hat guy. I look like Kenobi? You're lying. Gonna have to do an Obi-Wan cosplay now. Put the Red 5 helmet on. Red 5 helmet? All right, if we get enough messages in here, I'll do the Red 5 helmet. You guys want it? At least that one's a little bit breathable. I won't be able, like, all fogged up. I can drink my water and stuff. When will you do a name reveal? I don't know about that for now. I'm just going to go by Red. Do I actually... I'm getting a lot of Obi-Wans in here. Okay, now the chat's going wild. They want the Red 5 helmet. All right, I'm going to do it. All right. We've got the Red 5 helmet. This one is super tight, so I'm going to have to throw it on a little carefully. Put the goggles down here. Yo, Waffle, appreciate you, man. Congrats on the first stream. Creep up the good work, man. Thank you so much. And thanks for being one of our great Discord mods. Discord's in the description, guys. Make sure you join it if you haven't already. A lot of fun in there. All right. My ears always get, like, caught on it. I gotta get them into, like, the little cups they have here. All right. We'll put the strap on. Bring the goggles down. Oh yeah, this is much better than the Mando one. It's actually breathable. Makes my screen look so weird though with the orange. I'm gonna have to probably keep these things up. There we go. All right, I've got my helmet on now. Feels weird on the chair too. I gotta jack this thing back a little bit. Kenobi's long. I'm getting so many Obi-Wan things here, and I'm flattered if y'all think I look like Ewan McGregor. Bearded Luke. I actually did a Luke cosplay before at a Comic-Con. What do you guys think? Should we get into the movie ranking here? After this, rank games. We're gonna do so many rankings. We're gonna do reactions. We're gonna play some video games. I mean, if this stream is anything to judge, I think we can do a lot more. Sea otters. Say the Ewan McGregor otter. I don't have an accent though. I'm Canadian. I'm not from Europe. I hope everyone didn't leave. If that's what you're saying. Battlefront 2, yeah. Oh man. Red 5 podcast? I mean, maybe. You look like Yoda. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. I gotta judge this. There we go. All right, what do you think? I think it's time we get into the rankings here. We've done the face reveal. I'm not just gonna sit here and babble in front of a camera. Give me something to talk about here. Let's pull up our ranking sheet. Shout out to Tiermaker for providing this. We're gonna go full screen. That looks good on my end. What do you guys think? Look like Sidious. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Beautiful like a Gungan. That's the best compliment I've ever received. All right, tier list time. We're gonna be ranking the Star Wars movies here. From worst to best, S tier through D tier. I don't think I can keep this helmet on, guys. My head is like, it's like bouncing on my chair. All right. Oh, it clocked me in the nose, the chin strap there. Helmet's coming off. Okay. I think it's ranking time. We've got them all laid out here. We're going to do release order because that's the way I think it's best to judge them. But I'm going to pop this back here. It looks like the chat's a little bit stretched here on my end. I might fix that real quick. Delete the chat box. I'm going to go, whoop, here. There we go. Okay, chat should be fixed now. All right. It's ranking time. Something I've kind of strayed away from here on the channel. I like to talk about lore more than anything. And I know just with the current climate of Star Wars Online, things can go toxic towards one way or another. So I'm going to try and like go for a middle ground here. I'm going to give you guys things I like about each movie, things I dislike, but I am going to be honest. And I know that you guys will appreciate that. But do remember, this is my ranking. This is not your ranking. Feel free to leave yours down there. Feel free to leave your input. But yeah, let's do this. And we're starting off with the first one, A New Hope, or as it once was, Star Wars, coming out all the way back in 1977. I feel pretty strongly about this one. And I feel pretty strong about putting it immediately up here. And it's because without A New Hope, we don't have anything else. We don't have any other Star Wars movies. In my opinion, A New Hope is not the most important Star Wars movie. It is the most important movie that has ever come out. Ever. Because it really gave us like the modern blockbuster, the modern Star Wars, not just Star Wars, sci-fi movie. That's the word I was looking for. The way that they explain the Force in it, the way Obi-Wan explains the Force, that's one of my favorite things. The way it feels a lot more like mystical than scientific. The hero's journey of Luke Skywalker, the perfect introduction to these characters like Leia, like Ben Kenobi, Darth Vader in this movie. I mean, you really can't get much better than that. I think it's a safe S tier. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I can't. There's almost nothing I would change about A New Hope. I know the one thing that, you know, maybe the younger generation goes after it for is some of the CG effects, you know, like Obi-Wan and Vader. When you look at that lightsaber duel, say to compare the prequels, comparing it to them, It's obviously a lot slower, you know. It's the effects are a little bit more dated, but at the same time, for what it was in 1977 versus now, it's incredible. I mean, we wouldn't have anything without it. But yeah, I've easily got this one sitting here, and I'm not going to move it. I think I'm only probably going to have 3 movies in the S tier, at least in my head right now. And easy transition here into the second one, because The Empire Strikes Back is going above it in S tier. What more can we say about this movie that hasn't been said? I mean, The Empire Strikes Back is one of the greatest movies of all time, period. The greatest sequel of all time. The greatest plot twist in cinema history. The I am your father moment. Just watching it back, the pacing is phenomenal. The writing, so many good moments throughout it. The action, it takes everything about A New Hope and just makes it even better. Turns the volume up. I mean, it's pretty commonly regarded as, I guess subjectively would be the word, subjectively the best Star Wars movie, and I think that's very fair. It's critically rated, I imagine, towards the top. You know, there's not much more I can say. Like, The Empire Strikes Back, it's perfect. When I think about this movie, there isn't a single thing I would alter. I'll take that back, except for the Luke and Leia kiss. All right, that's a little bit weird now with the context that we have, but like, it's perfect. It's a perfect movie, and it's why a lot of people think it is the best Star Wars movie, in my opinion. And I mean, I guess this is probably more of a fact than an opinion. Star Wars hasn't reached the same heights since those 2 movies come out, and I'm saying that as someone who was born long after they came out. But just the amount of hype. If I had a time machine, I would love to go back and see this one in theaters and see just the reception and what it was like to be a Star Wars fan back then. Imagine just going into the theater and getting that I am your father moment, and then having to wait for the resolution, not being able to just pull out the DVD or go on Disney Plus and watch it. But it's so good. We're easily putting Empire Strikes Back in S tier. It's where it belongs. Anywhere else is criminal. Return of the Jedi now. Return of the Jedi. Very good. This one I'm quite attached to, but I am going to put it one tier below The Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope. Now, my favorite part of Return of the Jedi, and I think this is pretty common, is everything to do with Luke and Darth Vader. It's some of my favorite Star Wars, period. Luke redeeming himself, redeeming his father, I should say, and bringing him back to the light. That entire duel. Green Saber Luke is my favorite Luke, period. And I want to see more of him. I know we got it in like Mando and Book of Boba, but if we can get more of just Luke in his prime like that, bring it on. But yeah, I do think pacing wise, it's not quite as good as Empire and A New Hope. I'm not the biggest fan of, the Ewoks. I like Jabba's palace and some of those parts, but it's not great. Or as great as some of the stuff we got in Empire and A New Hope. But I think my one probably biggest problem with Return of the Jedi is Han Solo. I think he's very poorly written and executed, but I think at the same time, it was kind of up in the air as to whether Harrison Ford was actually going to come back for Return of the Jedi. So it's a little bit understandable, but yeah. The OT was re-released in theaters prior to Phantom Menace's release. I didn't know that, Solari. I did not know that. I did see Return of the Jedi in theaters last year when it came out. I didn't catch, what was it? Was it Phantom Menace? Yeah, Phantom Menace last year. But Revenge of the Sith coming out in theaters. Who's going to go see that? Drop it in the chat. It's actually coming back on my birthday, so that kind of works out well. Revenge of the Sith on my birthday. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to that first screening I can get to. Yeah, Green Saber is simply goated. Yeah, Harrison Ford wanted him dead. He wanted him dead a while. You're buying tickets right now? Yep. Yeah, I can't wait. Revenge of the Sith on the big screen. Even Return of the Jedi. I guess we're still talking about it now. But just seeing some of those scenes on the big screen made me appreciate it in such a different way. And me having it in A tier versus S tier is not a slight at all. Yeah. I love Return of the Jedi. I love the entire OT. In my opinion, it's the best trilogy, and I don't know if that's, controversial. I don't think it is. I grew up with the prequels, but I am pretty firm in saying that the original trilogy is the best trilogy, and we wouldn't have what we have now if it wasn't for the success of those 3 movies. And there's so little I would like to change about them, but I would say that Return of the Jedi is the weakest of the 3, with A New Hope in second place and Empire in first. All right, it's prequel time. I know this. There's definitely a group of people in here that I'm sure are ready to talk about the prequels. And we're going to start with Phantom Menace. I didn't know it was coming out. April 25th. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith is coming back to theaters. It might depend on your country, but I know North America at least is getting it. I feel like Europe probably is as well. But Phantom Menace. All right. This is where we're going to start getting a little controversial. Because I've got Phantom Menace. I'm kind of between B and C right now, but I think I'm going to land on C for now. To me, Phantom Menace is probably the worst of the prequel trilogy. And, it's a pacing thing. It's a plot thing. I feel like if I asked you to describe to me the plot of the Phantom Menace, it's probably the hardest one to map out, even compared to the other prequels. But Duel of the Fates obviously is goated. I love Duel of the Fates. I love Darth Maul. I wish we got more of him in this movie, and Qui-Gon Jinn, because we have to take into context just the movie here. And what we got for Maul, he was underutilized here. If he was never brought back in Clone Wars, he'd probably be a lot lower on my personal ranking. But this is where I've got Phantom Menace. I love Duel of the Fates. I love the pod race, but I get the argument that if you cut this movie out, not a lot changes. And I feel like maybe it would have been a better decision to start the prequels with a bit of an older Anakin, and then maybe you could drag out his turn to the dark side a little bit longer. I know we have Clone Wars now, but back then we didn't. So yeah, but I love the set design. There's some great trade disputes are the best part of Star Wars. I know, Lego. I know. That's what I'm saying, though. There's definitely a lot of holes in here that I feel like could have been done a little bit better. But moving on, Attack of the Clones. I think I'm going to put Attack of the Clones one tier above here. And yeah, the writing in this movie is probably the weak point. Some of the romantic scenes between Padme and Anakin are definitely a hard watch. But I think some of my favorite parts, the Battle of Geonosis, everything that's done there, seeing the Jedi at their peak, Mace Windu, getting to see Yoda wield a lightsaber. I know some people didn't like it when it came out, but I love it. Count Dooku, talk about underutilized there. Jango Fett, another case of that. But the way Obi-Wan's portrayed, Anakin even has his moments. I love the Tusken Raiders, the slaying of them. But yeah, I've got Attack of the Clones sitting here in B. And just to be clear, everything I'd say from B up, I really like. I like the Phantom Menace. I don't know if I love it, but everything B up, I quite like. I'm very happy with. But now's the one I've seen a lot of you guys mentioning here. I can see that chat. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Easily the best of the prequels. I'm dragging this out because I know some of you guys are going to be pretty passionate about this one. And I think you'll like where I put it. I grew up with Revenge of the Sith. I grew up with the prequels. I remember these movies being out before we had, the Clone Wars. And it's so nostalgic for me. I remember having birthday parties in elementary school where it was probably 3 or 4 years in a row. My friends and I would watch this movie probably 2 or 3 times in one night. I remember recreating all of the Obi-Wan and Anakin duel with my friends. This is definitely the one I grew up with and I connect with the most. So it's my ranking. And for me, I can see it in the chat there. For me, it's still number 1. I do go back and forth sometimes between these two. Sometimes for me, Empire does kind of notch up there, but it's very close. But I love Revenge of the Sith. Order 66, everything with Obi-Wan and Anakin. It does have its flaws, I think. First of all, Padme, criminally underutilized throughout this. I know she has a lot of deleted scenes, but some of that should have been kept in. I think Anakin's fall and his turn to the dark side is a little bit rushed when you look just at the context of this movie. I know we have a bit of an Attack of the Clones, but I feel like if it could have been built up a little bit more, because once again, I'm not taking into account Clone Wars here. I know now we have that, but when this came out, we didn't. So I'm just trying to look in the context, like strictly with the movie, that Anakin's turn does feel a little bit rushed. Pacing wise, also, it's a little bit all over the place, but it's so good, man. So many good scenes. The Opera House with Palpatine and Anakin, one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars. It's got the best lightsaber duel. It's probably got a top 4 to 5 one with Yoda and Palpatine as well. But I'm not going to say it's without its flaws. The Empire Strikes Back, I would say, is damn near flawless. But for me, it's Revenge of the Sith that's number one. I recognize that is very driven by nostalgia, but I have no shame in admitting that. All right. And now we are on to the Disney movies. And we're doing them in release order here. I'm not doing just the trilogy and then the spin-offs, or the spin-offs and then the trilogy, but I think we all know what's coming here. Starting with The Force Awakens. I actually really like The Force Awakens. Because for me, you know, this was the first Star Wars movie I got to see in theaters. And I have a lot of good memories associated with it. For me, it's gonna go in B tier. It's pretty close with Attack of the Clones. I think these two are very interchangeable for me, but I think I'm gonna keep it. I don't know. I get the complaint that it kind of mirrors A New Hope, but that's not really something that bothers me personally. Because, you know, George Lucas has said before, you know, Star Wars is like poetry, it rhymes. It's okay to kind of reflect the plot a little bit. Rey doesn't bother me as much as she bothers most people. I know that's a hot take, and, you know, her role in The Force Awakens is probably a little bit more minimal than the other ones, but I love Kylo Ren, everything about Kylo Ren in this movie. Finn, I feel like, was a really good character that had so much potential in The Force Awakens that I really wish he was executed better later. I don't like that they left Luke until the very end, and I don't like that in the sequels overall. I guess this is more of a complaint for The Last Jedi, but we never got to see Luke, Han, and Leia together. Han is another case where I don't like Han Solo's character. How he just kind of regressed to flying around with Chewbacca after having his whole hero's journey in the original trilogy and becoming, you know, the rebel hero and accepting that responsibility. But, you know, then he's gone and off back with Chewbacca here, away from Leia, away from Kylo. But yeah, that's about where I've got The Force Awakens. Like I said, these two are pretty interchangeable for me. But yeah. Poe is my favorite. Poe was actually really good in The Force Awakens as well. I thought he was great. But just the way that it ended up for like him and Finn, it's a damn shame, because I feel like The Force Awakens really set up a lot of great things, and I feel like The Last Jedi could have built on it, but it didn't. And I think the biggest mistake with the sequel trilogy was switching directors halfway through it, because you had J.J. Abrams set up all of his stuff for better or worse. And then it went to Rian Johnston, who retconned some of his stuff and set up his own stuff for better or worse. And then back to JJ, who's then got to try and put a bow on it and figure out how to wrap it up. I think that is the single biggest mistake with the sequels. If maybe we just had one singular director, that maybe things would have gone differently, because we'd have like an actual thing there, like a through narrative. But anyways, we're going to move on to my favorite Disney Star Wars movie. I don't think it's a hot take at all. Rogue One. For me, I know Lego, you've been waiting for me to get to this one, and if I put it too low, you're going to be a little upset, but I think some people might be upset about how high I have Rogue One. I've got Rogue One above Return of the Jedi. Rogue One and S. I could S personally. It might be S. You know what? It might be S. I'm thinking about it now. I'll put it in A for now, but Rogue One, man, it's so good. And I would fully admit, I am an Andor glazer and enjoyer through and through. Andor is like one of my favorite Star Wars projects that have come out, period. Since Disney bought it, Andor might be number one alongside Rogue One. Yeah, maybe Mando, at least like season 1, season 2. But man, bro, you face revealed. Yeah, you missed it. Sent an orphan to castle. Do I knock it up? Chat's really throwing a lot of S's in here. I think I might have to move it up. All right, we're going to move it up. You guys pressured me into it. We're putting Rogue One in S tier. You've never watched Andor, you're missing out. I'm telling you right now. And the way that they've been talking about season 2, I am so excited. I mean, we've had people like Diego Luna saying that we're going to look at Rogue One differently after it comes out. So I think immediately after the finale, I'm probably going to end up rewatching Rogue One just to see like what kind of a different context it gives us. But just, it's so gritty. It feels like a war movie, not just a Star Wars movie. Like, I was literally about to bribe you to put it in S. Oh man, I gotta take bribes. But man, I love Rogue One so much. The Krennic, Director Krennic, is one of my favorite Star Wars characters introduced in the Disney era. You know what? He might be my favorite. Every single line of his is a meme and it's quotable and it's great. I love Director Krennic and I'm so glad they're bringing him back for Andor season 2. I think the idea of all the cast ending up dying in the end is really cool and bold, and the way it transitions into A New Hope is incredible. The Vader hallway scene, need I say more? One of the greatest Star Wars scenes, period. It's incredible. And to think that we're about to get basically 4 movies that are leading into this, with the way that Andor season 2, they're dropping 3 episodes per week going into it. It's crazy, man. I think it's going to give us so much more depth to these characters that already have a lot. I mean, when you look at people like Saw Gerrera, like Cassian Andor, they've had so much build up, and it's awesome. I love Rogue One. I am a Rogue One glazer through and through. So yeah, you guys and I think myself have talked me into putting in an S tier, but I think I do still have The Empire Strikes Back and New Hope, Revenge of the Sith above it. Don't choke on your aspirations. Exactly. It's so good. Everything Krennic is in. Every Krennic scene is incredible. All right, guys. So this is the part of the video that I've been dreading a little bit. So we got to talk about these ones. Best list ever. I appreciate it. This is my ranking. I'm giving you guys my raw ranking. I've got no reason to try and glaze it up here at all. This is my genuine thoughts. Do you think they could have done more with Jyn Erso? Maybe, but I feel like she was a fine character. I didn't have any problems with her. I liked her backstory. I liked her deal with Saw Gerrera, the inclusion of her father, Galen Erso, who I really hope we end up seeing in Andor. But yeah. In your opinion, what trilogy has the best lightsaber duels? Probably the prequels. I do get the argument that maybe they're a little bit overdone at times, but I think the amount of effort that went into it with the stunts and all that, you got to have it high up. But Return of the Jedi is damn close. I love that Luke and Vader fight. I think aside from Obi-Wan Anakin, Luke and Vader in Return is easily my second best. Anyways, The Last Jedi. I feel like you guys are probably going to like where I end up putting this one because it's the popular opinion. I've got it in the D tier, or if we had a lower tier, I would put it lower. Yeah. Star Wars as a brand hasn't been the same since this movie came out. And I wish that wasn't the case. But like I mentioned, I think just the idea of the way that they changed the directors while they were working on this thing was a bad idea in general, because The Last Jedi sets up so many different ideas compared to The Force Awakens, and none of them get followed up on or anything. I'll say something nice about The Last Jedi. I think it is the most well shot Star Wars movie. There are some beautiful scenes in there. Maybe alongside Rogue One, but the cinematography is pretty incredible. I do like Kylo Ren in this one. I don't hate Rey as much as other people do. I don't really buy into the Mary Sue arguments, but I know where I can see where they're coming from, but she doesn't bother me as much as other people. What I really don't like is Luke's portrayal. I get what they were going for. In a way, he kind of mirrors Yoda and Obi-Wan, you know, walking away from everything, going into exile. But the idea of him pulling his lightsaber out on his nephew when he was the guy that redeemed Darth Vader, the most evil character in the galaxy. I can't see Luke doing that. To me, it doesn't feel like Luke Skywalker. And I know even Mark Hamill has said that before. And yeah, it's just the way that this like altered basically the trajectory of the entire brand. It can't be understated. So yeah, like I said, it's got its moments. I like the throne room fight a lot with the Praetorian guards. I like some of the Kylo stuff. I do like the Luke and Kylo duel. I wish Luke was actually there because I didn't like the way he went out. It is still kind of neat that he was able to use that force projection and use a really powerful ability to project himself across the universe, but I don't like it. He refused to kill Vader in the OGs, but he tried to kill a child. Yeah. Cinematography was great in the sequels, but they really dropped the ball in episode 8. They messed up Luke so bad. Yeah, that's pretty much where I land. Like, visually, they are incredible. Especially, I think The Last Jedi might be the best period when it comes to, like, visuals in Star Wars. It's shot really, really well. But the way they tried to sort of, like, subvert our expectations. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, really should have done the Heir to the Empire / the Dark Empire story. Yeah, I think that would have been better. But I think that's enough about that movie. It's been stomped through for years, you know. It came out so long ago at this point. I can't really say a lot about it that hasn't already been said in a YouTube video essay somewhere, but it's definitely, I think it might be my least favorite, but we're going to get to this one in a second, so we'll get to that. Solo. Let's talk about Solo. I think this is the most underrated Star Wars movie. I've actually got this one pretty high up. I think I'm going to put Solo right about there. Up in the B tier. Only under the original trilogy, Revenge of the Sith, and Rogue One. I quite like it. All right. Now, do I think maybe we needed to get a Han Solo origin story movie? Probably not. You know, there's probably some other characters that could have benefited from that. You know, maybe if they gave us the Obi-Wan movie or the Boba Fett one that were planned at one point instead of this. But I think for what it is, it's really fun. First of all, the castings here. Alden Ehrenreich, to me, feels like Han Solo. He feels like a young Han Solo. It doesn't feel like a guy trying to play Harrison Ford. Donald Glover as Lando, I mean, what more do I have to say? He killed that role. Chewbacca and Han, the way they met, I quite enjoyed. Another casting, Woody Harrelson. I'm a big Woody Harrelson fan. I like a lot of the movies he's in. And Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones. Big Emilia Clarke fan. So the casting, first of all, gets a win from me. Plot-wise, I love the way Han and Chewie met. I loved seeing Han and his Imperial past. I kind of liked the way they did the Kessel Run. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was well executed enough. Yeah, I think things I don't like, you know, it feels like maybe Han is going through his original trilogy character arc a little bit early and learning to be the hero. You know, I wouldn't have minded if they made him like a little bit more selfish. Maul, we have to talk about as well. I'm seeing that in the chat there. Maul's appearance at the end, I loved it. I wish they would follow it up. I would love to see like a Solo part 2, or, you know, maybe that Maul series that was announced today, they might end up, you know, doing that eventually, but you know, who knows. But the way he got his name as well, I know that's another complaint a lot of people have about the movie, him being getting the Solo name because he was alone and didn't have anybody when he was going to the Imperial Academy. I don't hate it, but I can see why people aren't a big fan of that. But it's just, to me, this is like a very fun heist movie and taking place in the Star Wars galaxy. It's kind of cool that it's a little bit of a smaller picture thing, certainly compared to every other movie here on the list. But yeah, I think that's about where I've got Solo. I think it's really fun, and I think it's probably the most underrated Star Wars movie. I think it deserves a lot more love. So yeah, there's a bit of Solo glaze for you on this fine Friday. Big fan of that one. And I still hold on to hope that maybe we'll get like a follow-up to it in some way, shape, or form. All right. Last one here. The Rise of Skywalker. You know, I go back and forth with these two a lot about which one I have above the other one. It's kind of tough. Someone saying C, but not above Phantom. It might be C, but I'm leaning high D. I'm between. It's pretty close here, to be honest. You know, The Last Jedi, I don't like a lot of the things they went for. No, I don't know. C below Phantom. A lot of people are saying that. It's either here or here for me. I think I do hate it less than The Last Jedi, so I think I'm going to end up putting it here. But to me, this movie just tried to make as many people like happy as they could, which they still kind of failed at by trying to retcon a lot of what Rian Johnson set up in The Last Jedi. Well, also trying to like wrap up the trilogy. I think bringing Palpatine back the way that they did was terrible. I wish it was built up a little bit more, throughout the rest of the trilogy. I think it could have been executed much better, but that's what we got. The Rey Skywalker thing, I'll be honest with you guys, it doesn't bother me. I see so many people getting worked up about it, but to me, it's no different than Leia taking Organa as an adopted name. Like, I'm pretty sure if I lived in Star Wars and, Palpatine was my last name, I'd probably want to change it too. And if Luke and Leia were sort of like adoptive parent figures for her, I could see why she would take the Skywalker name. To be honest, when it came out, I had a theory that like Skywalker was going to be the new term for like Jedi, and that's what I thought they were going for. Like, maybe Jedi that learned from like the mistakes of the old orders and some of Luke's as well. She's not, though. I mean, I get what you're saying. To me, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people. Things that bother me in this movie, though, the Palpatine return, I already mentioned. I think the idea behind the Final Order is kind of odd. How Palpatine just had all of these assets and Star Destroyers just chilling in the unknown regions, and they sort of look like the Empire, but sort of looked like the First Order, but they weren't, and they were just hiding there. I know they explained it in like the Vader comics and stuff, but this idea that he always just had these planet-killing Star Destroyers just chilling there, ready for him to come back, doesn't really work for me. Finn in this movie is reduced to just screaming Rey. I know he has that one moment where he tries to tell Rey that he's Force sensitive, and they cut it, and they just never followed back up on it in that movie. Finn, man, easily the most just underutilized part of the entire trilogy. I don't think that's, a controversial take whatsoever, but that's pretty well where my ranking, I think, lies. Anticlimactic with no lightsaber duel. I mean, they do have the duel with Palpatine. I don't think it's terrible. I liked the part where like all of the Jedi voices came and talked to Rey. I thought that was pretty cool. It would have been neat if we got Force ghosts like behind her, but I think it was done pretty well. So much potential with Finn. Yeah. Finn. Yeah. They butchered it. Anakin's crying because the youngling slayer is buried in the sand. I know. Kylo should have been the villain. Yeah, I think they should have doubled down on Kylo, or maybe just done something differently at the Last Jedi there, like when they killed Snoke, instead of just Kylo becoming the new head of the First Order. Maybe they could have taken that in a bit of a different direction, but I think this is about where my rankings lie. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So Revenge of the Sith at the top, Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Solo, Attack of the Clones, The Force Awakens, The Phantom Menace, The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi. That's my top 11. And who knows when these new movies come out. I really hope that they rank high up, but this is pretty well where I land. Knights of Ren, yes, that's another one. They fly now. That's not the worst part of it. That just, to me, feels more like the common, MCU sort of jokes getting inserted in. But Knights of Ren is definitely one so underutilized. They're basically like Jango or Boba Fett or Phasma. Hux in this movie, again, having him be the spy the entire time felt sort of just putting a shock in there for the sake of doing it. But they really tried to play it safe and wrap this sequel up and tried not to upset as many fans as possible. Obviously, that really blew up in their face, and I think they learned from it. I hope they learned from it. And I hope the next Star Wars movie is good, because I want Star Wars movies coming out. You know how badly I want to have a YouTube channel talking about Star Wars with new movies coming out? Like new good movies that I can talk about on here? That'd be awesome. So I can't wait for Mando and Grogu. I can't wait for the Sean Levy one that was announced. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Video game tier list today. Probably not today. We'll save that for another stream. But I do want to talk a bit about some of these reveals, if you guys are up for that. Let's talk a bit about what we got from Celebration last night. I've got it pulled up here. First of all, Maul Shadow Lord. We got to talk about this. And I think I want to do like a dedicated Celebration sort of wrap up stream early next week, but I want to talk about this thing. Maul Shadow Lord. So for those of you who don't know, announced last night at Celebration, Sam Witwer's coming back to play Maul in a brand new animated show. So this is going to be, I assume, a multi-season sort of thing, probably like the Bad Batch, and takes place a year after Clone Wars. It's coming out in 2027, I believe they landed on, but I'm excited about this. I'm really excited for it. I think something to me that's really exciting about this is that it's one character focused. We haven't really had that with a big animated project. Tales of the Jedi were kind of shorts about specific characters, but we've never had like a full animated show about just like one character. Clone Wars bounces around. Rebels, you have a squadron of guys. Bad Batch, again, it's a group, but this is going to be Maul, just following Maul. And I hope that this is an experiment because, if this show does well, focusing on one character, maybe we can get other shows focusing on one character. Maybe we get Luke. I think Luke is the big one I want. Post Return of the Jedi Luke. Early Jedi Temple days, him building his academy. There's so many other ones that they could do. Who wouldn't love like a Grievous show or a Darth Vader animated series? I'd take that. So hopefully this one is well received. I did watch Sam Witwer's interview today with one of the writers. I don't remember her name off the top of my head here, but it sounds like he had a lot of creative input into this, which I know was the case with like The Force Unleashed. So Sam Witwer loves this character. You got like Dave Filoni associated with it. So let's go through this here. So this is from the Holo Files, Star Wars Holocron, kind of has some of the details on it. They did show like a brief trailer, which they do have the description for here. Here it is. Okay, so the trailer begins with two alien creatures speaking across a table in some kind of hangar. It's the kind of underworld meeting between crime bosses, or at the very least, people on the wrong side of the law. A conversation about the state of the galaxy continues as different beautiful environment shots are shown in quick succession. Then a ship lands at an unknown location and a hooded figure begins to walk down the ramp. Initially covered by the hood and surrounded by smoke, the person pulls back the hood to reveal Maul. Of course, the Celebration crowd went wild at this point. The rest of the trailer is primarily focused on Maul training a new Twi'lek Padawan. That's pretty big. After having a vision that she can help him in his mission for revenge. The trailer concludes with Maul fighting Marok. I think that's pretty interesting. the Inquisitor who first appeared in Ahsoka. Marok tells Maul, "So it's true, you live." From our impression of the trailer, it seems like Maul Shadow Lord may introduce Darth Talon. And that's what I was talking about when we were talking about the Twi'lek there. That's pretty big if they're going to do a canon adaptation of Darth Talon. For those of you who don't know, she was in Legends, a couple video games and novels, I believe. She was around like the one Sith with Darth Bane at one point, but originally Talon was going to be Maul's apprentice in the sequel trilogy that George Lucas had planned out. So the fact that we're getting her in canon, I'm sure she's going to be a very different character than Legends. That's pretty cool. I don't know where they're going to take it, but yeah. But yeah, this it's pretty exciting. I'm all on board for this Maul show. I'm very cool. First I found out about it from Galaxy of Heroes. Yeah, Talon is an interesting character. I don't know when does that release. So I think they said 2027. So it sounds like we're going to kind of be getting a lot in that year. Or it may have been 2026. Hold up. I could have been wrong there. I think it was 2027. Yeah, because 2026 we're getting Ahsoka season 2, and we're getting the movie The Mandalorian and Grogu. So yeah, 2026. Okay, Waffles got it there, I think. Okay, so either it's 2026 or 2027. I know in the interview Sam Witwer did say that he's been working on it for over a year, so I imagine it's in pretty deep development. So 2026 probably sounds a little bit better. Hopefully we get multiple seasons. I think it would be pretty sick. Just exploring like Maul and how he got from, like I mentioned earlier on the stream, from where we saw him at the end of Clone Wars to Solo and Rebels. I know this one is going to start like a year after Revenge of the Sith / Clone Wars ended. According to Luna, it's 2026. Okay, 2026. I'm glad it's 2026. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good year for Star Wars. Mando and Grogu movie, Ahsoka season 2, and a Darth Maul animated show. If you told me that a couple of years ago, I'd be pretty stoked. So I'm excited to cover that just as a creator, but just the idea of kind of bridging the gaps with Maul and going from where he was in the Clone Wars, like leaving that battle with Ahsoka, and, you know, we find him again in Solo and he's still sort of this crime boss. But between like Solo and Rebels, he's suddenly this wandering, mumbling guy in a cave that clearly some stuff has happened to. So yeah, that's where I land. I'm excited for Maul Shadow World. I'm ready for it. Shadow Lord, Shadow World, Jesus. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to be covering it a ton. So yeah, now we had a trailer actually for Mando and Grogu that was also shown. I have seen it, but obviously if we show it on here, I think Disney's probably going to take my channel down. So again, we've got a description here. This is from Bespin Bulletin. They've also got some stuff here about Starfighter, so we can go through this very quickly. So Mando and Grogu. Just looking for the description here. Okay, Starfighter. Biggest announcement. Sean Levy, Deadpool and Wolverine untitled Star Wars film, which got a title, Star Wars Starfighter. Levy brought Ryan Gosling on stage to confirm the casting and revealed that the film would be set 5 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, but that it's a standalone. The duo unveiled the logo for the movie and announced its release date, May 28th, 2027. So that's where I'm crossing the dates here. So Maul Show 2026, Starfighter 2027. So we're going to a Star Wars movie 2 years in a row, which is great. Because I've run this channel for 3 years and we haven't had a single Star Wars movie. So I'm up for that. Obviously, like this, there's next to nothing here. It's after The Rise of Skywalker, Ryan Gosling stars. That's all we know. Sean Levy's directing it. I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know about you guys, so I'm on board. Maybe it'll be based like loosely on the Starfighter games. I haven't personally played them, but I've heard good things. And, you know, I wonder if like there's a connection to that other movie. Was it Rogue Squadron we were supposed to get at one point that got canceled? Maybe there's something there. But yeah, I'm excited. Anyways, now we had Mando and Grogu stuff here, some tidbits. Sigourney Weaver's joining the cast there. You can see her with Jon Favreau. Lots of behind the scenes photos. We had Din and Zeb. Just trying to get to the trailer description here. Okay, so there's speculation the trailer might actually get publicly released. Okay, so here we are, Mando and Grogu trailer. Trailer begins inside the cockpit of an AT-AT with the officer in charge prepping his troops to engage a target that has taken down a walker. As we see snowtroopers loading up their armory, Din Djarin blows open the door and runs in firing blaster bolts and begins taking out the aforementioned troopers. Djarin seemingly throws a knife of some kind at one trooper before using his flamethrower to finish the job. Din makes his way closer to the cockpit using his blaster and hand-to-hand combat skills before the door to the cockpit closes right as he's about to enter. We see a walker explode from the outside and watch it collapse and fall. It's meant to make audiences think that it was the AT-AT we just saw Djarin in, but I think it's actually the walker. Okay. So kind of a fake out there. Sigourney Weaver's character sat at a desk talking to Din Djarin where she proclaims his work, probably on the walker assault we just witnessed, was very messy. And Grogu attempts to slowly steal her candy, of course. We get a flash of 2026 on the screen and see a quick shot of Rada the Hutt from behind, who is buff and inside a gladiator arena. This is definitely interesting. If you've seen like the buff Hutts from the comics, and I know we're getting Jeremy Allen White that's playing him. I like Jeremy Allen White. It's definitely, it's a weird sort of group of characters that are rumored for this one. Like I know I've heard the Embo rumors as well, but yeah. Okay, so Din and Grogu walking alongside Zeb from Rebels, flashes of Djarin fighting inside a bar of a restaurant of some kind, Grogu swimming underwater, Din and Grogu using a chicken walker and avoiding shots from walkers on a snowy planet, definitely connected to the opening scenes of the trailer, and Grogu using the Force to crush a mouse droid, again connected to the earlier snowy scenes. The logo appears on screen and the trailer comes to a close. So there's Rada the Hutt. There's the image there. Zoom that in. I guess we don't see the front of him, but you can tell he's jacked there. Rada's not getting captured again. He's been through that once, and he won't put up with that. You gonna show your face in more videos? Undecided. It'll probably just like depend on, you know, the content. I'm not gonna force it, but you know, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But anyways, more stuff on Starfighter here. I think we kind of covered this already in like the last article. 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker, standalone movie, 2027. Yeah, that's pretty much all we've got. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the big things we got so far, at least from Celebration. I think I'm definitely expecting more. You know, we've gotten like action figure reveals and a couple interviews, but I think there'll still be some bigger panels. I know they did mention that this is the last Celebration before Mando and Grogu, so I'm taking that as we're not going to have one next year, which is quite unfortunate, but yeah. Isn't there a game under development that is going to be similar to Empire at War? That's another thing that was mentioned as well. There's a new game. I think we're supposed to get a look at it. I think that's happening today / overnight tonight, like Japan time, Saturday. So are all 3 days over? No, only the first day. So this is all we've got from just the first day of Star Wars Celebration. So I believe tomorrow we're supposed to get that gaming announcement. I think the publishing panel might have already happened as well. I saw some things about that, but there's still a lot more to come. Like Celebration is barely getting started, just day one so far. I want to go to the next one. If the next one's in North America, I'm pretty confident I'll be able to go. Zero Company is the video game thingy. Yes, that's it. Star Wars Zero Company. I believe it takes place during the Clone Wars too. Here it is. Star Wars Celebration on April 19th for a first look at Star Wars Zero Company. So I assume that's Japan time like overnight tonight, we'll probably wake up to news about it for my fellow North Americans. But that's pretty well all we have. I think it's going to be close to like Injustice and games like that. I'll give it a shot if it looks decent. It's done by Respawn, so the Jedi games. And I think there's another studio involved that did some really cool stuff with, I think it was Warhammer. So it's not just like EA. I wouldn't write it off immediately, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope it's good because we could really use a good Star Wars video game, and hopefully we get a release date too, because it's been a minute since we've had a release. I mean, I know Outlaws came out. I kind of forgot about that one because I haven't played it, but I'm excited, cautiously optimistic. I hope Zero Company's good. Same with Maul, same with the movies. I want good Star Wars at the end of the day. You know, I want things that are going to be high up on my tier lists. But I think we might call it a stream here in a couple minutes. We've done our ranking. We've done the face reveal. I'm getting a little hungry, I'm not going to lie. But I really appreciate all of you guys who stuck through this entire thing and kind of bared with me. I know I blabbered a little bit. I know we had some tech issues. I really appreciate it. This was really cool, and it's not something that I think I regret at all, doing the face reveal. So we'll do more. I think we're probably going to stream Monday or Tuesday, possibly talk a little bit about Andor, a little bit more about Celebration. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great day. I hope you all have a great Easter weekend, if you're celebrating. And thanks for coming out to this stream. This was really cool. I forgot about Outlaws. Me too. There are more genres than Battlefield-like shooters. I recognize that completely. I'd love a really good open world game. I was hoping Outlaws would be that, but I don't think it turned out to be that. And I don't think that's like a particularly hot take. But yeah, like Survivor. I love Jedi Survivor. I love Jedi Fallen Order. I'd love a Battlefront 3. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm seeing all the kind words in the chat there. I really appreciate you guys coming out. This was a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys again soon. Of course, it's Friday now, so we've got a new video coming out on Sunday that I think you guys are going to enjoy. But yeah, this was great. Thank you all so much for coming out. I'll catch you all soon. Red 5, standing by.